Welcome to this segment of Soul, Silence, and Sound. This is brought to you by BeSimply.
Stars, trees, clouds, and the moon. They all have a meaning and they look just like you.
Welcome to the segment of Soul, Silence, and Sound. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here in this moment. This is brought to you by BeSimply, and this is our in-between the full and the new moon. And as we sync up to, I feel, a new resonance with our organic moon, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll explain that more later, maybe not in this segment, maybe around the new moon. So right now, I want to share with you a little bit about belonging and the word happy. And we all have probably been feeling many things and an amplification of many things here on the earth plane. And as the truths continue to get spoken, not so much revealed from those who that have been tricking, but the people that have seen the truth and they won't be able to hold it back any longer. So I encourage you to keep your ears open, listen deeply to one another. And if it feels hard for you to hear what someone is saying, I encourage you just to maybe write it down and keep revisiting it, because that is this next level of the veil dropping. And the reason for that, as I mentioned before, the truth allows one to reclaim a remembrance and vibrate at higher states of consciousness. When we're trapped in a lie or deception or manipulation, it really lowers us to the lowest common denominator in which that former perpetrator has been manipulating all of humanity. So we are definitely continue to shift, and we will continue on. There's more to go. I know some people are feeling it completely. Others are in between. So just trust in the process. And it happens in bits and pieces because we all have to do this shedding, and it can't all happen simultaneously. Otherwise, it might feel really wild. So if we gently gaze over to the word of belonging. Now, our society has been structured up until this point around fear, manipulation, deception, which creates a need for safety and a group that you can trust so that you can do what you need to do. That is what's shifting for all of us, myself included. Because if you've been perpetrated upon in this lifetime, once or many times, that word safety means a lot to you. I'm quite certain of it, no matter where you are in processing and releasing anything that might have happened to you. And so we inadvertently do certain things to keep ourselves safe and the ones we love safe based on our past experiences. So as we continue to go through this remembering, that fear and need to be safe will release off each and every one of us, even the animals, because fear will not be the driving force. And so the belonging has been kind of the need, the underlying word to mask the need for safety, to be in a trusted group of people that you feel have your best interests in mind. But imagine living in a society where everyone has your best interests in mind, and you are not required to navigate a sea of perpetrators, that you actually are having the opportunity to learn, to teach, to mentor, to be in a place where you can really harness and master your divine gifts that are intended to contribute to a holistic community. So as we migrate to this place of well-being, that word of belonging, aka safety, will start to dissipate. And if you're feeling the charge and the trigger of certain things from your past, allow them with this incoming new moon to come up and out, roll out of you. Don't need to hold on. You don't need to keep telling the story. You don't need to just let it roll out. Let it be like water rolling off a duck's back. And as you do that, as you continue to do that, you will be really, really surprised at what unfolds from there. It takes courage to do that, to learn how to trust yourself, and then find a realization that you can spend your days mastering and contributing to society in a way that helps others. And then the magnetism isn't around keeping everyone safe and belonging to a certain community or location. It's really focused on that refinement and helping elevate consciousness for all. And there's one thing that is known in certain tribal nations, is that if any member of a community is overindulgent or out of balance, that is a hindrance to all. And if you just think of it in terms of like food, if one person is overindulgent in food, that's less food for others. And if you're a mama or a papa out there, you might have had this, if you've had moments in your life where you had to have a maybe strict budget, especially if you were a kid from the 70s. You grew up maybe in a household like that. And so sometimes the parents, not in all cases, will forego eating food so their children can be fed. So when we think about a well society, it's not about gluttony. It's not about any of those things that keep us from our highest expression. So beautifully, as we lead into what will be revealed around this new moon, is that we can sweep out the need to belong to something and sweep out the need to be safe. And as you do that, if inspired to, things will open up. And if you think about that word a little bit deeper, if you think about what leads us into happy, is that when we get so fixated on belonging or being accepted or approved, all these things, or kept safe, that we actually end up in places and with people that we aren't really aligned or calibrated. We're there actually to keep perpetuating these ancestral lessons that we have suffered from greatly. And a lot of that has to do with that divide and conquer and top down versus being on an even playing field and being like a beautiful orchestra, all harmonizing and working together. So when we let go of that, the belonging and need for safety, because the fear is lifting off, we move into this place where we can actually not suffer and remember the true causes of happiness is love. And that happy happens when we actively participate in being mindful and not causing harm with our mind, with our speech, with our actions. And this is a balancing act. And until we fully get into this level of consciousness, it's a mindful action. It's not like black or white. It's not like words on a page. It's a nuance, because in one moment, your action may cause no harm. In the next moment, it could cause harm to you or someone else. The same with our thoughts, same with our words. And this is why it's really important to get very grounded and rooted in your surroundings and have a strong governance over your mental, physical, emotional body and your soul. Because that need for safety is most instinctual, not just from physical harm, but that there have been perpetrators attempting to harness the energy of your soul and capture it. And this may sound like a little way out there, but it's actually something very important as we move forward, that we remember. Once we have that full remembrance together, the grand awakening, you will really start protecting your biofield that's around you. And I've talked about that a little bit. So the beautiful thing about happiness is that rather than just like, someone that has trauma and they're looking for safety, a lot of biological feminine can relate to this, that they're looking for safety. And so from there, that perpetuates fear. And then maybe being forced into belonging places where it's not calibrated or aligned. It's based on actually wounds and that cycle that we're shedding. So when we move into a place of happy, we're content, we're at peace, we're not offended. The opposite of offended, one of the opposites, is to be happy. And happiness, the true cause of happiness, is love. So if you think about that, if you're offended by something with no, even if someone's perpetrating you don't have to be offended. You can advocate for yourself. You can say no. You can protect yourself or someone else. That's your divine right. If someone's trying to perpetrate you, you can push back and say no. The offense, being offended, all it does is create emotional chaos and distracts from a conversation that could be had, where misunderstandings could have happened. But someone's attachment to their right and someone else's wrong creates offended. And when we have this dualistic nature, then who wins in that? No one. Because one person is always being offended or the other person's always being offended. And when we let go, put down that tug of war and allow and really practice love, kindness, that happiness rises up. And isn't that ultimately what we want for each other? Is first to master that we don't need to harm one another. That takes away the perpetrator. There's no reason for it. Absolutely no reason for it. We have words. We have the ability to reason with one another. There's no reason for any perpetration physically, mentally, or emotionally on this planet. We have the skills. It's up to each and every one of you to harness them and to utilize them and practice them. And so when we take away the perpetration, and then if we have attachments to it's this way or that way, that really creates a lot of muck in the middle, because someone's going to be offended. And so if you think, okay, well, yeah, there's going to be polarities, because based on how nature is, there are polarities. There's a positive and negative charge. Positive and negative. Negative doesn't mean bad. It's how the system works. And so these polarities and that tension are there needed because they actually provide a check and balance. So if you have a worldview over here on one side and your brother or sister has a worldview over here and they're opposing each other, that tension serves, because from there, then we can find a solution. We can find common ground based on that tension, because then we start to say, but it takes a willingness to be kind, have an open heart, have an open mind, and communicate. But if we want to act like a 3-year-old or a teenager simultaneously and be offended and righteous, all it does is goes back to that cycle of perpetrating, the perpetrator, the victim, the enabler. That's all it does. And so right now, as we continue to really step into, okay, I have to speak up when I'm seeing that old cycle, if you choose, or I need to think and take action when I see that about to happen. As we do this, this will really put us back into harmony with that organic tension that exists, so we can stay in harmony, similar to what you feel when you walk in the woods. There's a harmony. And I've mentioned this book, and I was discussing it with one of my children, is that, you know, there's so much that happened when and this happened all over the world, but we're going to talk about the North American continent where I sit. When you have someone impose themselves, and maybe they needed safe ground, maybe there was a good reason. Either way, impose and then decide what's right and what's wrong and start manipulating a whole group of people based on their perception of what's right and what's wrong. And it could be both ways. It could be vice versa. But then it starts to shift things in a way that's such a huge, like a valuable lesson. Because when that invasion happened, it wasn't a migration because it became an invasion and a colonization. And this is a big word used right now, but that's what it is. It's like invade and take over land that's not yours. And so the proper way to do this from here forward, because people are migrating everywhere, people are leaving North American continent because they don't want to clean up the mess. They're moving out of certain states because they don't want to clean up the mess. The proper way to do it is to turn in and to have conversations. And if you need to be somewhere else, to ask permission. Imagine what happens when you ask permission. Not just show up somewhere and impose yourself and your views and the way you do things on another system that actually is thriving. And the one note in this book is that it's well footnoted. I haven't gone back and checked it all, like done my due diligence. That'll be the next step. But it's like an inch thick of footnotes, very well footnoted. That the native women to this land were very, very skilled at harvesting. And that the men were very skilled at taking care of the forests and the hunting. So even something that's gotten twisted in our agricultural society from our native nations, like Navajo Nation, Hopi Nation, Lakota Nation, is that the male got somewhere in there convinced that he is to handle the crops, but it was originally the females to hold. And many other things, economy, overseeing conflicts, there to be the peacemakers. The men had this role of communing with the forest and the animals. So much so that there was no need for fences. There was no need for industrialized, or as we would call it, pasture-raised, farm-free chickens. There was no need for any of that because they lived in symbiosis with nature. So if it was time to give way to an animal for the need of food, it wasn't because it was your pig or your cow or your chicken. It was that nature knew and that animal knew that it was time. And so it was in symbiosis. There wasn't a fear and a violent act. And so this is a lesson. Rather than be mad at one another, this is a valuable lesson that we're here. Our ancestors, my grandparents, great-grandparents, all participated in aspects of this. From different continents, from island nations. And so we have this opportunity to learn from our past actions. And that, from an Eastern perspective, is what is so valuable in understanding cause and effect. When we look at our past actions, when we flub up, when we don't say things the way that we wished we could have or should have, when we let our mind run wild and perpetrate people with our thoughts, we can go back and say, okay, that's not the best action to take, and how can I change that? So this all brings us back to that. If you imagine, like, you had all these native humans to North American continent and many other parts of the world. I call them native humans to the continents of the world. And they were invaded by people that did things differently. Maybe some of the things were better, some of the things weren't. Imagine having a conversation. Not a manipulation. Not being harmful to one another, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Then there's a lot of potential, and that's the era we're entering into. And so if we lead with that word happy, how may my thoughts, my words, my heart bring happiness for the benefit of all beings? Not just the ones that belong here and belong there. Not the ones that want to conquer and divide here and there. How can each and every action, to the best of our ability, generate happiness? It's a really quick checkpoint. And we're all fallible, myself included. And as we continue to open up, there's these veils, a lot of our senses are brightening, and so there aren't any secrets. Well, there never were secrets, but now it's becoming more and more apparent, because, like I said, you all are going to be speaking the truth, and you'll be like, what the heck? Why did that just come out of my mouth? Part of the process until we balance out, but we'll get there. So, if inspired, if you're ready to really help contribute to a world that has a deep desire to be safe and migrate into a world that doesn't need to operate out of offense or defense, but to be in harmony no matter where you are, that you're content and at peace no matter where you are, and that you can live in symbiosis with your ecosystem. When I take people on retreat, I will usually at retreat Vision Quest, because we're out in nature and Vision Quest, but on retreat I'll say, okay, we'll go out and hang out and get a little bit of this. And I always remind them, if you get plopped in an ecosystem you don't know, climb up in a tree and observe nature. The animals will quickly teach you where there's clean water. The animals will teach you what plants are safe. All kinds of things you can learn by watching. So if you're ready to live in a place that's in harmony, that you're in harmony with, practice daily. Easier said than done, especially right now. But this is where we're headed. And then the second part, before we go into meditation, is to decide, do I want to cultivate happiness on a daily basis? And happiness is created by peaceful, loving, and kind actions, coupled with our innate ability to be compassionate and empathetic towards one another. So we'll allow that to wash all over ourselves, and I am grateful for each and every one of you for being here in this moment. And as we go into this meditation, I welcome you to come up into an upright, seated position and find a focal point down in front of you. Keep your eyes open. This is a very beneficial way to clear your mind and to release some of the past that no longer serves, aka trauma. And then gently taking another deep breath in and out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Good. Another one. Inhale. And exhale.
be seen. It is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Listen, it cannot be seen. It is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. seen, it is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard, it is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Listen, it cannot be seen, it is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard, it is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. be seen. It is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling down. Listen, it cannot be seen. It is beyond form. Look, it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling. Wait, it cannot be held back. The sands are falling.
And gently from there, I welcome you to gently lean back and recline or move fully into Shavasana, a prone position on your back with your palms facing upward as we transition into receiving sound. As you settle in, just take a nice gentle breath into the heart and out. Again, inhale. And exhale. And one more inhale. And exhale. And then continue to follow your natural breathing pattern. Taking a soft, gentle breath, breathing in and out. Gently bringing your awareness back to here. And as you continue to breathe in and out, I welcome you when you're ready just to move your fingers and toes, and then gently rise up to a seated position. Otherwise, staying in Shavasana or on your side is perfect. And then taking that moment just to express silent gratitude for all aspects of yourself. And then, if inspired, giving gratitude and compassion for other beings, people and places, or a person that you feel it might be needed, wanted, and welcomed. And then gently from there, I welcome you to take another deep breath in. And out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Good. And then as you gently breathe in and out, I welcome you to take a moment to allow that to all wash over. And maybe take a few more minutes to contemplate. Are you ready to be in harmony and happy? Are you ready to allow the tension between the polarities to cultivate conversation, kindness, compassion, and peace? Before we can move into this era of spiritual mastery, we need to learn and remember how to use our words. And for many of you out there that have been dabbling in sound or receiving it from pop culture, I want to remind you that these skills were passed down and earned long before here. And a key component in that process is to understand the use of speech and to understand the value of humility and to have an understanding of harmony with your ecosystem. And when one understands that someone is aligned that way, then that's a good place to receive from or give from. This isn't something to be grasped at. Nothing is. So, thank you all for listening. May you be happy and remember the causes of happiness. Love. I also want to thank Kadri Scott, Random Rab, Dante Marino for your contribution. And until next time, this is Suzanne signing out with a full heart, a soft gaze, a deep bow, and a namaste. Be simple.
Feel on me makes me feel